Chawla, my co-anchor. Brahma Kumaris have more than 10 lakh families as students. They have ashrams or study centers, 8,500 of them across 140 countries. That's a huge following. And I have listened to Shivani ji on two separate occasions in person. And I can vouch for why it must be having such a strong following. She's a compelling speaker, and we're lucky to have her today. Welcome, Shivani ji, and I think we'll start right away by asking you what your experience of the lockdown has been in terms of the problems that people have come to you with, that families have asked for your help. What are the things that you've been noticing in these last 3 or 4 months?
What's happened, if we look at our life even before COVID, we
Yeah,
were living a life of emotional dependence,
right.
where we blame people and situations for how we are feeling. So that was even before COVID. We said, I'm angry because of, I'm irritated because of, I'm upset because of. So everything we felt here was because of something outside. And then came a global crisis. And together we said, fear and anxiety is normal. The crisis was global, but we created a global emotion.
Right.
And most important was that we labeled that emotion as normal. So as a society, the message that we were giving repeatedly through every platform, through every individual, fear and anxiety is normal. These are tough times, these are challenges. Every word has an energy, every word has an emotion. So more than an individual's own emotions, it was also what they were receiving from everyone and everywhere around them. So obviously then fear and anxiety became normal for many. So the first situation that came in an individual's life was fear and anxiety because of the epidemic. Then came lockdown, which was something which we had not been used to, living 24 by 7 together, in small houses, and also to manage children. So
Yes.
already with emotional depleted states, that's what it is. As it is, it's not easy to live everyone together 24 by 7. But when you're living together, not in your best emotional health, that's when it becomes tougher. So people can snap at each other more easily, they get irritated, someone just breaks down, starts crying, and then has to take charge of themselves. So relationships were also getting a little affected because then the work from home. So when they were working from home, they were not as set a timing as when they were working from workplace.
Right.
So many of them said, oh, now people can just call me at even 10 o'clock in the night and say, do this,
Yeah.
finish this. And so earlier, before COVID, people used to say, when will we get to sit at home? And when we did corporate workshops, the most common topic was work-life balance, that, oh, we don't get enough time to balance work and home. But now they said it's easier to work at workplace, but not easy to work from home. So a lot of situations to which we had to adapt.
Right.
But you can adapt only if you energize your mind on a daily basis.
Right.
So it's an emotional immunity system which has to be built up also.
But did you find that people were willing to build that? Because the main problem is that you can change people, but they should want to change themselves.
It
That's the
all,
biggest
yeah.
stumbling block.
It all depends on how people are using this time. There
Right.
are a lot of people who've used this time in a very, very, very positive manner, which means done a lot of things which they were not able to do before. Let's say yoga on a daily basis, meditation on a daily basis, sleeping early, waking up early, because you had the time to streamline your lifestyle, which was not happening when we are traveling national, international. So a lot of people have done that. So there's going to be a shift now in our emotional health. Some of us are going to be emotionally stronger than what we were before COVID because of how we used these 3 months.
Right.
But some of us are going to be emotionally weaker if we only created anxiety in these 3 months. So it all depends on what we did in the last 3 months with our time and with our mind.
And Shwaniji, yet when you speak to some people, especially experts in the area of public health, they will tell you that fear and anxiety was important as an emotion to communicate to society at large so that they would be disciplined, they would maintain social distancing, they would wear masks. So they, in fact, in a way, endorse this kind of paranoia that was created. And I have to say that media was very much part of creating that paranoia. So, would you agree with that?
Right from day one, whether it's the government, the administration, and the media, the line was take care, don't panic.
Right,
So that was a perfect line. It
right.
was a perfect line. So whether it's from the government or from the media, the slogan was only one: take care, don't panic. Dhyan rakhiye, dariye mat. So it was very, very clear. And that's what we had to do: take care and don't panic. But we learned how to take care, but the don't panic part, we left it apart and we said, panic kaise nahi karenge, matlab dar to lagega. See,
Right.
what happens by creating fear and anxiety is there is one crisis that is outside, it's a visible crisis, and people know the symptoms, people know when they need to take health care, but there is an invisible crisis that is getting created, and that's a mental health crisis.
Right.
And a bigger
Shivani,
crisis is an emotional health crisis, which has really increased in the last 3 months.
Right.
Shivani you have been talking about emotion from the beginning itself. And during the COVID times, emotions are under stress at the moment. And because, as you rightly pointed out, people are living together, they are not used to living together, and there are different kind of pulls and pressures. The emotions are driven by the mind. That is because it's out of the mind, something comes out of the emotion. I read somewhere you said, allow your mind to slow down. But when so much pressure is happening there, if you slow down your mind, you have to think super jet speed. I find that your quotation which I quote, allow your mind to slow down in the stress when the emotions are getting very high pressure. If you slow down your mind, I don't know what will happen. The families will break up. So how you could reconcile to slowing
Emotion,
down of mind and handling the emotions?
emotion and pressure is not the same thing. There was a pressure. There was a pressure. Stress in science is a formula. Stress is equal to pressure divided by resilience. So pressure was there. Pressure is high. Pressure can even be higher tomorrow due to any other situation in our life. We're all used to pressures, but stress is not equal to pressure. Stress is equal to pressure divided by resilience. So resilience means our inner resilience, our coping skill with the pressure. Like for a child, exam is a pressure. But we teach a child, don't get stressed. If you get stressed, you'll make a careless mistake. Relax, be easy in your mind. A sports star, pressure. But if they get stressed, they'll make a mistake. They have to have a very cool mind. An army officer on the war front, highest pressure. But if they panic, they'll make a mistake. They have to keep a very cool, powerful, positive mind. So, which means the resilience, the denominator had to be very high. But what we did, pressure was high, denominator went low, so stress factor went very high. So think less and think right, which means the denominator will go high. So the higher the numerator, the denominator should be much higher than the numerator so that our emotional and mental health is in our control. With one crisis to handle, we cannot afford another crisis. We can't afford, there is a huge rise of anxiety attack symptoms, depression symptoms, and people are not aware of their symptoms. People are not ready to go to a therapist right now because they don't want to go out of the house, which is understandable. But 3 months, if somebody doesn't take help for a depression symptom, then 3 months is enough to aggravate a depression symptom. So that was all our creation. The epidemic.
My question is entirely different. What you're saying makes sense also. The question is, you're saying think less. It means if I think less, before I could handle one crisis, if I'm thinking less, another crisis may hit him. So I'm multiplying, difficulties are coming to my place. How do you react to that? Because people
Think
normally think
less.
fast. You should be
Yeah.
very fast on your foot. And you're suggesting that, no, okay, you should be slow. And
Think.
I'm not able to understand that.
We're not
I would
saying
like to
think
understand
slow.
and follow that principle. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not think slow, it's think less. There are two ways of thinking. When we think positive, we have very few thoughts. When we think negative, we have many more thoughts, and that's why many people complain of overthinking. कहते हमारा मन चलना बंद नहीं होता. I'm thinking too much, I can't stop thinking. So when the speed of thoughts is very fast, which means the number of thoughts is too much, is a sign that the quality is not right. If we think positive, our speed of thoughts is less. When there is a situation to look for a solution, I need to think right. I can think about the problem. If I think about the problem, then I'm only thinking and talking about the problem. I'm thinking negative because it's not a very, very good situation. And when I think negative, my thoughts are too many thoughts in 1 minute. But if I think right, my thoughts are less, not slow, less. So there's a difference between slow and less. The
So
number of thoughts.
but I'm reading what you said. So it says slow down. So I'm putting from there. If you said less, then it made it a little more meaningful.
Yeah. Slow down means don't think too much.
Okay.
Think too much. You know what people have been thinking in the last 3 months? Okay, this year is over. We won't be able to do anything right this year. Economy is finished. My job is lost. I've lost my salary. If a mind thinks like this continuously, then a mind can tip off towards an anxiety attack or a depression. Take one day at a time. Protect, because this outer crisis will be managed. But by then, if I have done something to my mind, then it'll take me much longer to come out of that. Maybe I might be on a medication for a very long time, only because I didn't take care of my mind while the world was trying to solve the crisis outside. We only had to sit at home in the last 3 months. We only had to sit at home. How difficult can it be for someone to sit at home, closed doors, protected? But they only had to learn to take care of their mind, which had to be taken care of. Otherwise, there have been cases of domestic violence, which has been on the rise in the last 3 months. There's been a rise in child abuse in the last 3 months. So all these things has nothing to do with the epidemic. It has nothing to do with the outer situation. It's because of the ability to take care of myself when situations were not as per I want them to be. So that's the coping skill of the human mind.
How do you build your emotional resilience? How do you build that denominator? What are the steps that you need to take? Is there a magic formula or yeah?
It's not a magic formula, it's lifestyle habits.
Right.
Like, we have lifestyle habits to take care of our body. Similarly, there are simple lifestyle habits to take care of our mind. If we go, let's say 2-3 decades before,
Right.
when we had lesser of content consumption, content has a direct effect on the mind, because emotional health is decided by emotional diet, and emotional diet is what we watch, read, and listen. So let's say if I look at my life, and when I am in school, no internet, no mobile phones, very little of television, younger school age, not even television. So what is content consumption for a child at that 25, 30 years back was just parents, teachers, and a few good books and one newspaper in the morning. That's it. That is content consumption. And so less content, and quality was good quality, because we were told which books to read, which books not to read, and parents would check what we are reading, what we are watching. So it's a very protected era as far as content consumption was concerned.
Right.
And if we had to scale, if we had to draw a graph of content versus emotional health of society, we'll see a direct connection. That after that came television, then came internet, then came 24/7 television, then came social media handles, and now we have digital OTT. So just look at this complete graph. So now a child, leave alone the adults, but even a child is constantly consuming content at every click. So, you're just going on eating and eating and eating, like as far as it's concerned for the mind. And quality, we know, it's everything. And nobody's checking what children or youth are consuming, what we are consuming. Even during COVID, had we consumed less information, we would have been protected. But because of the uncertainty and lack of clarity, we just kept watching, reading, listening continuously, everything. So take care of emotional diet. That's very important. First hour of the morning should be without phones. You know what we do, many of us, we look at the phone as the first thing, open your
Yeah.
eyes and look at the phone.
But the
So
WhatsApp messages first.
look at the
Yeah.
WhatsApp messages. Yeah. Even work communication should
Yeah.
not be first thing in the morning. You're not supposed to be at work at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
First hour of the morning is to energize the mind. But
Right.
if I consume content in the first hour of the morning, then I'm consuming the world onto my mind.
Right.
Then, as will be the condition of the world, so will be the condition of my mind because I've consumed that content. So, first hour without world content consumption, even work communication,
Right.
nahi. So, first hour should be for meditation, yoga practice, and at least 20 to 25 minutes of spiritual study, which means content consumption of a high vibration,
Hmm.
which means a good emotional diet.
Right.
Like suppose I have to be out the whole day, at
Right.
least I will take a good breakfast in the morning and go. So
Yeah.
that, okay, then doesn't matter whatever I eat during the day. Similarly, that good breakfast for the mind.
Right.
And I'm sorry I'm saying on this platform, but no newspaper also the first hour of the morning. First hour. After that, throughout the day, any amount, but not the first hour. The first hour and the last hour before sleeping are
Right.
most important for the mind. First hour will affect the day. Last hour content consumption affects the night.
Right.
And if you look at news channels also, the early morning and late night is the highest viewership.
Yeah.
So we're doing the thing at the wrong time.
Right.
We're absorbing that information at the wrong time. So first hour, my time, and sleep early, which means by 10 o'clock we should sleep.
Hmm.
It's not that we can sleep at any time. There
Hmm.
is a right time to do everything. So 10 to 5 is the
Right.
best time to energize the mind and body.
Hmm.
2 hours before sleeping should disconnect from work
Hmm.
because the mind has to again slow down before sleeping.
Hmm.
Our mind is in the beta plus stage during the day,
Hmm.
hyperactive stage, and slowing and sleeping is absolutely slow down delta stage. But
Right.
you can't go from the beta plus to the delta suddenly. It has
Right.
to go beta plus, beta, alpha, theta, delta.
Yeah.
So you have to slow down the mind. We're not slowing down the mind nowadays because we have technology.
Yeah.
When we didn't have technology, we came back from work, we had nothing to do. So
Yeah.
we would sit with family, chat, listen to music. That's what we need to do in the last 2 hours.
Hmm.
No work communication. The mind has to disconnect from work before sleeping.
Hmm.
Today, what we're doing, we're checking our emails just before closing our eyes also. Okay,
Right.
any one more email, one more message.
Right.
So the mind gets stimulated.
Right.
So the body sleeps after that. The mind has a lot to think.
Right.
And sleep deprived is another crisis of the world
Yeah.
But
where
should we
we
look at
keep
TV or not? Entertainment before sleeping.
not in the last 1 hour
Right.
because entertainment quality is important. If that
Hmm.
entertainment is a crime show, if that entertainment is anything that makes the
Heightens your.
mind
Yeah.
overactive,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
mind, it should have a soothing. So if
Right.
you're watching something, listening to something, it should have a soothing effect.
Right.
Whether you're listening to music, just simple music, or songs, soothing effect,
Right.
so that everyone can check for themselves. But
Right.
your mind should start slowing down, not all the kind of thrillers and crime shows, or not, that's not for the late night, not just before we go to sleep. So these 2 hours are very important. During the day, how much content we consume is very important.
Right.
If anybody restricts their content consumption, emotional health will go up
Right.
because our quality is a question mark what we are consuming.
Hmm.
So quantity and quality. Earlier, if we watched one TV serial, then we would watch the next one next week on
Next
that
week.
same day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then we came to Monday to Friday every
Right.
day. But now with digital platforms, people just sit and watch like 5, 6 episodes.
Yeah. In one go.
Yeah, what are we doing to the mind?
Yeah.
And even the one who is promoting the serial will say this is for binge watching. So
Yes.
just keep watching it together.
Right.
It's abuse of the human mind actually.
Right.
So these are few things to be taken care of.
What about during the day? How do you, can you switch off for a while during the day? Can you, what would you recommend?
At the Brahma Kumaris, we have a very nice practice. We call it traffic control of the mind.
Okay.
After every 1 hour, we pause for 1 minute.
Okay.
So we have an app on the phone. and we'll have a nice music which will play every hour, every hour. And whatever we are doing, even if we are in a meeting, talking, working, we just pause for a minute.
Okay.
Just a minute. So we call it a minute after every 59 minutes.
Uh-huh.
So we pause after a minute, and whatever we studied in the morning, so whatever thought I took in the morning for the day, then I will revise that in that 1 minute, which means I will consciously create a high vibration thought in that 1 minute. So it's like charging your mind. You know how we charge our phones wherever we find a charger? If we keep doing that, then even at the end of the day, your phone is charged.
Right.
Earlier, when we didn't have power banks and chargers everywhere, our phone would be discharged by the time we were driving home in the evening.
Yeah.
The same with the mind. Just keep energizing it during the day. And most important, live a life of awareness.
Right.
Don't keep reacting to situations and people.
Right.
We believe a very, very, very wrong belief system. We believe that situations and people create our thoughts and feelings.
Right.
And so when situations and people are not my way, I react.
Right.
And when I
Shivani
react, Hanji,
Shivani, but people do affect your emotions, and if you're surrounded by people, you're not disconnected with the society, you have the family, you have the friends, you have everything else. Because I've read somewhere you said people don't press your buttons, but change your mood. But it is not practical. It is just an idea which you are given, you have spoken somewhere. But people, you are surrounded by people. Ultimately, your son is there, your father is there, your sister is there, your daughter-in-law is there, your grandchildren are there. But how can they press your buttons? Because my grandchild cries, I have to, my button is pressed there. So I have to react to that. So you can't disconnect yourself from people because you are part of the people. We are not isolated sitting in Himalayan like a yogi and sitting there and no reaction happening. But I can't understand when you say people don't press your button. What do you mean by that? I don't understand.
which means,
They do.
no, they don't. We don't react. We respond to the situation. So let's say I'm working with someone and someone behaves or works in a certain way which is not agreeable to me, or someone is repeatedly making a mistake or whatever, different behaviors, different personalities. If I don't take charge of my emotions, I react, which means I get irritated, then I get angry, then I get angry even louder. And every time I'm saying it's because of them. उसने काम ठीक से नहीं किया, इसलिए मुझे गुस्सा आ गया, which means we believe they hold the remote control to our mind. But when you start living a life of awareness, that's their behavior. My behavior, I will choose. I will not waste my energy just because people around me are behaving or working differently. So we can be surrounded by 100 people and yet we can choose how to respond in every scene. In every scene. People even stuck on a traffic jam. Different people will respond differently. Some people use that time in a traffic jam. They have a nap, somebody listens to music, somebody talks on the phone, and somebody just keeps getting irritated. Somebody keeps abusing people around them. Somebody even comes out and starts shouting at people. These are different responses to the same situation. Each
But
individual.
Shivani ji, ultimately you are admitting that they're pressing your button somewhere and different people react differently.
They are not pressing our buttons.
Somebody is murdering somebody in front of me, I have to react. No? They are
I have to
my
respond.
button somewhere.
I have to respond the way I believe is right.
You are saying it respond, I am saying reaction. That's what it is.
React and response is different. React means then my response is dependent on them. Pressing my button, nahi, they are pressing their button. They have chosen to get angry, they are pressing their own button. But they cannot cause me to get angry, which means they cannot press my button. If I have to get angry, I am pressing my button of anger, which means I am choosing my response. I will not ever live a life which will say they are responsible for what I am doing. And anyone just does this experiment for one day, only a 24-hour experiment. Live a life of awareness. Don't say they. Say I chose. I got irritated. I created this anger. Tomorrow, I'll do it a different way.
Maybe you, Shivani, you have utopian concepts. Maybe we try to implement them. We'll try that. Other thing which I read, which you said, we can save many relations if we understand a simple fact. The people aren't wrong. They're different. How they're not, murderer is wrong or is different? The rapist is wrong or they're different?
Yes. So when we say people are not wrong, they are different. It's because we need to understand the sanskar and the
You have to use some
mindset.
adjective, not to call them. What adjective you will give to that person? A murder is the culprit is wrong.
Yes.
Legally wrong, ethically wrong, everything is wrong. You are saying it's different, which means positive way of thinking.
Yeah, first and foremost, the video from where you're taking that quote is not in context of that. It's in context to our family and work relationships. At home, with children, with people at work, anyone whose sanskar is different from me, I call them wrong. Let's say I have a sanskar of punctuality and somebody else comes 15 minutes later. I said, you're wrong, you're late. So we use the wrong word very, very easily for everyone who's different from us. But when we use the word wrong, why we should not use the word wrong? Because when we use the word wrong, we are radiating disrespect to them. And when we radiate disrespect to them, they radiate the same to us because they believe we are wrong, we believe they are wrong. And so our foundation of a work or a family relationship then stands on disrespect. And then that relationship becomes very fragile. They are different from me. Their definitions, their ways of thinking, their emotions, they are different from me. We are all different from each other. We are unique. We're different from each other. And we have to understand and accept that difference and then adjust and learn to live and work with each other. If we radiate disrespect to each other, then it's stressful for us, stressful for the other person, and stressful for the work and home environment. So energies have
Shivani, you are basically saying that your usage of word different doesn't mean to criminals at all. It means the behavioral conduct of people around.
When it comes to somebody who's done a legal or unethical thing, even then at that time, or in this video which you're talking about, of course, it's completely in the context of family.
I've not seen the full video, so I must admit that.
So it is in the context of family and work, which means people who we are surrounded with. And when we come to someone who's done unethical or something illegal, yes, legally they are wrong, but we also need to understand their mindset to be able to heal them. It's very important to heal people's minds. Why someone does this, what happened to them inside, what overpowered them, whether it was that immediate instant something overpowered them, or it's something from their childhood, it's something that they've gone through in their life. Whatever it is, they definitely need healing. So only legal punishment, that's incomplete. It's not.
Yeah, I'm asking this question because I've never been to Mount Abu. I've been invited many times whenever the leader of Indian Express. And on the 19th, I got invitation many times to speak there and go there. But I never went there. Somehow couldn't find the time to go there. So I was trying to read much about it because I'm trying to understand what the philosophy is. Because something which you are doing doesn't seem to be practical to me at least. I may be wrong in that. But when you are explaining, I can see where you're coming from. For example, you are saying somewhere हिंदी में लिखा है ज़्यादा बोझ लेकर चलने वाले हमेशा डूब जाते हैं. This is what you're using. ज़्यादा बोझ लेकर हमेशा.
I have not said this anywhere.
This is on your video पर. इसका complete सुनें जो लिखा है मैंने पढ़ा आपको वेबसाइट पे जाएंगे. ज़्यादा बोझ लेकर चलने वाले हमेशा डूब जाते हैं. फिर बोझ चाहे सामान का हो या अभिमान का. It's not yours and I can't.
I have definitely not written this. But I can explain the meaning of it, but I have not written this. That's
then you must correct it. It's on your website itself.
See, what happens is when it comes online, the amount of quotes, the amount of posters, they can all be used with photos, but who's written it is a very big question mark. And we know what happens online on digital platforms. How much ever you try and clean it up, it's not in your control there. But what it really means is कि ज़्यादा बोझ उठाकर लेने वाले मतलब अगर मन पर हम बहुत बोझ उठाकर चलते हैं. So अहंकार एक बहुत बड़ा बोझ है ना. Ego doesn't allow us to be light in living, light and happy. Burdened, overburdened. हम कहते हैं यहाँ overburdened है. Not burdened by outer responsibilities, but मन पर बोझ, past की बातों का बोझ, किसी ने कुछ हमारे साथ किया था, व्यवहार किया था, उसका बोझ. तो बोझ हम बहुत सारा मन पर लेकर रहते हैं, तो हम जीवन में लाइट नहीं रह सकते. वो तो definitely.
You spoke about Abhiman somewhere, must have spoken, that's why they picked it up from somewhere.
Shivani ji, I wanted to ask you, when you talked about wrong and disrespect, you're basically asking for a judgment-free world. And I think being non-judgmental is a big quality. But what happens when the And you talked about healing as well. What happens when the person who's in the wrong is not willing to heal himself or herself? How do you then help a person like that? That willingness has to come from that person.
Yeah. So it's not necessary that the person believes they need to change. No.
Right.
That's it, right? So
Yeah.
suppose I am that person and you are family for me.
Yeah.
You can see that something which is not right for in
Right.
me. You can see it. It could be an addiction. It could be a habit.
Yeah.
It could be so many things. You can see it. According to you, it's not right for me. But I do not believe that I need to change. So how much ever you will try to change me,
Exactly.
I will not try to change, right? So now what can you do for me as family?
Yeah.
One, if I'm doing anything which is not right for me, I'm doing it because I'm emotionally not fit.
Hmm.
You know, anything, whether it's a wrong habit, whether it's an addiction, whether it's a way of working, I'm emotionally not in my best health, only then I do something like that. So now let's say it's like a battery. I'm here, okay? Suppose I'm at 30 and I'm not ready to change. You want to charge my battery, which means you want me to become emotionally stronger. If
Yeah.
I become stronger, I'll make the right decisions in life. I'll do the right
Right.
karma. But I'm not ready to energize my battery.
Yeah.
What can you do for me?
Yes.
If you are critical and judgmental about me,
Yeah.
you know, you are wrong if I keep receiving from you, my 30 will go to 25
Right.
because you're not the only person. There are 20 people around me
Yes.
who create that same thoughts for me. It's a big ripple effect that happens. So my battery goes like this, it just keeps on depleting. But if you pray for me, radiate blessings for me, you understand, you're compassionate, you understand I'm going through a lot of pain, I am dis-ease in my mind, that's why I'm behaving like this. What we believe is that family member is causing pain to us. What we forget is that family member is in pain.
Exactly.
They are in pain. So when you have that kind of a mindset, your compassion will radiate to me. And what your compassion will do, my that 30 will start going to 35.
Right.
Compassion is the biggest gift we can give to people, which means non-judgmental,
Yes.
non-critical. That will start energy. It'll be slow. If I
Yeah.
do it, it'll be faster. But if
Hmm.
even if others around me are, you know, thinking right for me, they will be healing me
Hmm.
just by thinking right for me. Because by thinking right, you're not thinking wrong. So you're not radiating the opposite. So it's a huge gift. It's a
Yeah.
huge gift to people around us.
But of course, it's also a very slow process.
It is slow,
You have to have
but
a lot of patience.
no, but what is happening? I'm at 30.
Yeah.
If you take care, it may be very slow, but I'll go to 35. But
Right.
if you don't take care, I'll come very fast to 25.
Right.
So it's a big gift.
Right.
It's a big gift. It's like a disease. At least you've stopped my disease where it is.
Right.
I'm not declining. And then once it's stopped, it'll definitely get better.
Have you seen it helping families? Have you seen a change in families by practicing this?
Oh, lots. Yeah, definitely. Most important is you can create a very positive environment in the house for that person. You
Right.
see, if in a house there is one particular case like that, then the whole house seems to go, it's as if it's a very unhappy family because
Right.
everybody is only talking that, only worrying, only in pain.
Yeah.
So, in an uncomfortable environment, how will that individual get healed?
Right.
Forget something like this. Even if someone's going through a physical ailment,
Yes.
someone's going through a mental health issue, everyone else goes into pain in the
Right.
mind. If
Yes.
everyone goes into pain, how is that one person going to get healing energy?
Right.
How is that one person? But if everyone is able to take care of their mind and thinking powerful, they are contributing to healing that person. So our minds play a very important role in healing others.
So that's why you constantly talk about training your mind.
Most
And
important.
so, what are the important things we talked about? Emotional resilience. What are the important ways we can train our minds?
Train is most important. That's what. If we at least keep 1 hour, see, from where are we learning all this? I'm
Right.
learning, everyone's learning in their different schools.
Yeah.
Now, let's say, for example, I'm learning at the Brahma Kumaris. So
Right.
what am I learning every day? I'm learning every morning. At the Brahma Kumaris, every morning we have a study class.
Right.
It's 7 to 8 in the morning in 140 countries, in 8,500 centers at the same time, which means the 7 a.m. of every country, we are at our center.
Right.
365 days of the year. There is no holiday in that
Wow.
study class of 7 to 8. So now this is a study.
Hmm.
So like we study to become a doctor, a jurist, a media person. So I'm studying every morning how to think right. It's a school. So that's spirituality. So if
Shivani,
we,
how you handle the time zone difference when you are doing at the same time? How do
no,
you,
I said 7 a.m. of every country.
every country, okay.
Every country. So every
Because
country does it as first thing in the morning before
morning.
we all leave for work, or, we leave for our daily duties. So we first go for an hour to the center and then we're off for the day.
Hmm.
You see, I will ask you one question because what you're saying makes sense because how to change the new generation. Now materialism is going up now this country because people are going after materialism rather than doing anything else. The youth of the country, the new generation, they want to have good life, good gadgets, everything good they want to have. So earlier, what you teach is more about values, but people are thinking on the valuations of their product. The conflict between inspirations and aspirations, conflict between values and valuations. How you solve these kind of conflicts in the society now?
Uh, People wanting to achieve aspirations, it's perfectly fine. But while working towards their aspiration, if they don't take care of their mind, then they're not happy even after achieving what they wanted to achieve. So like, let's say from a student life, a student studying for an exam, then going into a college, then a professional college, these are their goals, these are their aspirations. But if they don't take care of their mind on a daily basis, then stress has become a part of their journey. Depression has become a part of a lot of journeys. Contemplating suicide becomes thought, very normal thought for many. So that was not a part of the aspiration. So moving towards the aspiration has to be a beautiful journey, because aspiration will be never ending. First it's school, then it's college, then it's my
Yeah.
career, so that's a part of life. And spirituality does not say that you're not going to do all this. You're going to do everything, achieve everything, buy what you want, but only right karma, right sanskars, values, ethicals, emotionally ethical, while you are achieving what you're achieving. So, and
Sure.
definition of success is very important.
Yes.
If we call success only a performance based, that the more I achieve, the more society labels me as successful. So spirituality says the way you achieve is more important than how much you achieve. So the
Get into
way
politics of it, and I won't get to business. I won't name people whether they've reached the success. You call them how they've reached the success. I won't get into it. But what you're saying, because what is happening now, you look at the number of divorce cases. There are more divorces happening in the country now, all over the world. No? There are more suicides happening in the country. More family disputes are happening. There are more and more conflicts happening in the society because the conflict between aspiration and inspirations and valuation and values. So people like you, how can you suggest to control this increasing trend towards some kind of a conflict, I mean, some kind of a violence society?
Whether we talk of divorce, whether we talk of conflict in families, whether we talk of depression or suicide, everything is a sign that we were not taking care of the mind. We were running. Even before COVID, you ask somebody, why don't you take out 30 minutes every morning for meditation? तो कहते मरने के लिए भी फुर्सत नहीं है. These are the kind of lines we say कि हमारे पास मरने के लिए भी फुर्सत नहीं है. So we thought taking care of the mind was not important. We thought we'll do it after we are 70, or we thought it's for people who have nothing better to do in life, so they're just sitting like this in the morning meditating. We thought we are achievers, so हम first चीज सुबह उठते हैं and we are on the run, we are achieving. So why divorce rate? Two people who are achievers, who are working very, very hard throughout the day in tough situations, going through challenges, driving traffic 1 hour every day up and down. When they reach home in the evening, they are emotionally drained. Then their power to adjust, their power to understand, their power to tolerate, their power to forgive, that's all gone here. That's why divorce rate. Divorce rate is no other reason. Now, those same two people, if they spend at least 30 minutes to energize their mind on a daily basis, they will work hard throughout the day, they will drive through the traffic, but when they will come home in the evening, they will still be like this. Relationships will be perfect. So it's only because we were running, suddenly in the last 20 years, we're running very fast. And we're running fast. It's like physically, if I want to run a marathon, I cannot just get up and run. I have to train, I have to eat well, I have to sleep, I have to take care. If I just run a marathon, I'll collapse. So that is what has happened for a lot of us. We are running this marathon of life without training ourselves, so we collapse. अगर हम माइंड का ध्यान, बॉडी का ध्यान रख के फिर सारा दिन चलेंगे, relationships will be beautiful.
How,
Beautiful.
how has the family unit changed? Do you think it needs to change in this environment, especially in terms of division of labor, outside the home, inside the home? Who's the primary caregiver for the child? These are all questions that have come up with the increasing, presence of women in the workforce. A lot of changes have taken place in the family, including the nuclear family. How do you see the family, the Indian family, changing under the impact of all this?
See, a joint family system,
Yeah.
which means where a child was not only having their parents but also having
Yes.
grandparents, is a very, very big source of emotional health for a child.
Yeah.
Because you are getting so much power and blessings. It's not just physical care that somebody is feeding you,
Yeah.
but it's emotional care. And also the ability to be able to adjust with so many people in the family.
Right.
So that's where our ability to adjust was getting done. We don't
Yeah.
have to train, it was happening
Yeah.
automatically.
Exactly.
So a child growing up in a family of 10
Hmm.
with cousins and uncles and aunties automatically was trained how to live with different sanskars.
Right.
Then we shifted to 5, then 2, and now every child says my own room.
Yeah.
So you see now my own room and my technology, not
Yeah.
even playing out very often in the
Yeah.
evening and all. So the ability to adjust is not getting used. So
Right.
if I don't use my particular power, I will start losing that power.
Right.
Like earlier we remembered everyone's birthdays, everyone's phone
Yeah.
numbers. So we are the same generation. Today we don't remember their birthdays, their phone
Right.
numbers, because they're all fed. So
Right.
I stopped using my power to remember. My memory power is declining. Similarly, my power to adjust. Now again, the new children and the generation of now, the ability to listen to a no,
Yeah.
the ability to listen to a no, because especially in urban India, we're growing up with all facilities right from day one. When a
Yeah.
baby is born, you have everything.
Right.
And plus the parents will ask, aap kya khayenge,
Yeah.
aap kya pehnenge, I don't remember my mother ever asking me, aap kya khayenge, what will you wear and all. We were told like, ye bana hai, kha lo. So what we realize now, how beneficial that was,
Yeah.
because what that was teaching me is that what life gives you, you have to adjust with that. You
Right.
can't tell life, I want this to eat, I want that to eat. But today's child is
Mm.
getting to choose right from when they are 1 year old. So
Mm.
when they're going to be 10, 15, 20,
Mm.
if life gives them something which they don't like,
Mm.
that power to be able to not get things their way would not have been developed.
Right.
So parents need to say no.
Right.
They need to
Shivani,
say no.
the way
Even if they
you
have everything, you have to say
They
no.
have to say no.
Shivani, the way you are saying that the future is very dark that way. It means the kind
No, it's not.
of
Future is
technology is going to create a great divide between parents and children. Technology is going to its physical relationship, emotion thing they will disappear. As Bratty pointed out, the kid is in her or his room all the time. They've got the iPad. Without iPad, you don't see a person. 5-year-old in urban India, which you're talking about. So spirituality is something which new generation may not be able to relate to, which is a danger for the humanity as a whole.
Technology has made our life extremely comfortable. So we really don't blame technology at all for anything. Technology is very beneficial, but if I don't use it the right way, then that's my responsibility. So I would not blame a phone or my iPad or my internet or my TV. Everything makes life comfortable. But how much I use it, how I use it, and what I consume for it is my moral responsibility. So it's every family will have to create the culture of their house.
Right.
Let's say simple, what we tell everybody, you should not have your phone and TV when you're having your meal.
Right.
So how much time does it take to have a meal?
Yeah.
10 minutes.
Right.
If everyone eats together, 15 minutes.
Right.
But at those 15 minutes, there should be no TV on, and there should be no phone with you on the dining table. I mean, no one's going to pick up and start talking in the middle of having a meal. Now, if that much also nobody wants to do, then our karma, our consequence, but because this is what we are doing. But many of them want to do it, and when they do it, they get amazing results. Because when we're eating, food is not just for the body. Food vibrations affect the mind. So if I'm watching news, or if I'm watching something which has violence, and today children are watching violent cartoon films while eating. Children at the age of 2 and 3 are given screens before eating, and parents say, "Aap picture dekho, main aapko khana khila deti hu."
That's
So
what
now
happened.
this is something we are doing. So we are responsible. We are training that child to distracted eating. So if that child learns distracted eating from this age, then to go back to mindful eating will be a little tougher for them. Of course, anyone can change at any age, but we are not being right to them emotionally. We're not. So because we are working, we have less time, we have less patience, we say, chalo khana to kha lo. Chalo,
Right.
kha lo. So we're focusing on the body, ke khana kha liya, but we're not taking care of the mind. But there are a lot of families now who've seen it, and now they're very strict that they will not give screens to their children. They will not have screens during meal times. It takes them little time to go through the de-addiction process, but a lot of houses are doing it. So it's all each one to their own. No, like always, it's always each one to their own. What they will do with their karma is our responsibility.
I was about to ask you, you talked about de-addiction. I was about to ask you about detoxing the mind, which you also talk about. So how do you detox the mind? How do you first, once you've decided, so how do you go through that process?
So detox the mind is only all about content consumption.
Right, again.
Watch which movie you watch,
Right,
which serial you watch,
right.
which songs you listen to, what books
What you
you
read.
read, what
Right,
books you read, how much you consume from your social media posts.
right.
You know, social media is a very comparison based platform.
Yeah,
So it's drastically increasing comparison and competition in society,
right.
and self-esteem getting affected.
Yeah,
Uh, Earlier also, even when we were children, our self-esteem was so dependent on, oh, unke paas kya hai, uske
huh,
paas kya hai. But that time our comparison was only in that little circle of
exactly.
friends and relatives. But now that circles become global. So, and plus the addiction of waiting for people's approval.
Yeah,
So these few things are becoming very, very deep because of social media platforms. One is comparison and competition. Second is self-esteem, because I am comparing myself, and because, people post their things in very different ways. I
yes.
start believing everybody is happy except for me.
Yeah,
Everybody has the best spouse except for me. Everybody has the best. It's something we're not doing. We're not taking it the right way.
yeah,
And third is dependency on people's approval.
right,
People will, if people approve of my post, then I'm a good person.
right.
So that's not good for our self-esteem.
Endorsement by others.
Yeah,
Endorsement by others, yes, absolutely. So so exactly, now the social media handle was made for people to connect with each other,
yeah,
people to be friends with each other, but now it all depends, hum usko wahan se kahan leke jane wale hain.
right,
So that's about how we use what we get.
right.
But yes, it's having a drastic effect on human minds, that's for sure.
And one of the last questions, then Ms. Chawla, if you have any others, the power of words. You've also been very vocal about the words you use, and the words you use, you say, manifest into thoughts, and that manifests into change. Uh, how do you choose your words carefully? What are the words you choose? What words have good vibrations? How do you decide that?
It's first thoughts, then
Right.
words.
Okay.
So the thoughts we choose will come
Right.
out into words and
Right.
then in our behaviors,
Right.
and thoughts manifest. In
Right.
Hindi, we say sankalp se siddhi.
Stay Siddhi, yeah.
Sankalp se siddhi. So thoughts manifest, the words create our world. We know all these things,
Right.
When we get a quote like that, we share it with everybody.
Yeah.
Our words create our world.
Right.
But what are my words on a daily basis?
Right.
So high vibrational thoughts and words,
Right.
and low vibrational thoughts and words. Like even let's look at it during this COVID, we've been using very low vibrational thoughts and words.
Right.
So whether it's from any platform, बार बार जो word use हो रहे हैं ना, they are not empowering words.
Right.
मतलब अगर मैं एक थोड़ा सा पढ़ूं तो I'll go like this after that. But so every platform, whatever we are presenting, give the information, but give it in a way that the listener or the viewer takes it, but also gets strengthened to handle it.
Right.
You know, but not takes it and then collapses with it.
Right.
So then we are not doing it right for society as a large. And as far as an individual's vocabulary is concerned, our vocabulary, our words will create our state of mind and our personality. A lot of people even use abusive words.
Yeah.
If somebody uses abusive words, they're not low vibration, they are like lowest vibration.
Yeah.
And so many abusive words have become part of vocabulary.
Yeah.
They're called normal. So words, you know, so if you have words which are pure, positive, then you're energizing yourself with your every line that you speak. But if you have words which are ये तो खत्म, ये तो impossible, ये तो हो नहीं सकता, ये तो hopeless है, इसका क्या? So every word that I speak, it's getting programmed here, no?
Right. Right.
So it's not about the listener, it's about me. The one who's speaking gets affected first.
Right.
नहीं,
So
आपका जो कहा ना शब्दों का प्रयोग जो है वो ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है,
बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है,
बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है।
बहुत
जैसे पॉजिटिव, जैसे आपने कहा कि जब आई को वी में बदल दिया जाता है, इफ आई एम कोटिंग राइट, टेल मी नाउ बिकॉज़ आई डोंट नो वेयर आई एम पिकिंग इट अप। जब आई को वी में बदल दिया जाता है तो इलनेस भी वेलनेस में बदल जाती है। Is it your quote or not?
No, it's not actually.
What do I do then?
I don't know.
But I agree with this. What you are saying,
it's a nice
I agree with that. You perhaps may agree with it if it's not your quote.
Yeah.
It says that if you don't start thinking about I and convert it into we, then you are looking at a bigger platform. You are going for a bigger convex. So you have to surrender your I to the we. Then probably you might be thinking more positively than the others.
Yeah. Even a simple thing like gratitude.
Yeah.
You know, we tell people first few thoughts in the morning, do gratitude.
Yes.
Even in today, in the toughest situation also, there is a lot to be grateful for.
Right.
There is so much to be grateful for. Early in the morning, if I have gratitude to the higher power, gratitude to my mind and body for being healthy, gratitude to family, gratitude to people I work with, gratitude to everyone who's taking care of the country and the world today, and gratitude to nature. So just by creating 4-5 thoughts of gratitude, I'm shifting my mind to a higher frequency. Then my mind will not shift towards a lower vibration of complaining during the day.
Right.
You know, the shukriya ya shikayat. Where am I going? It's like there's water in my tap every day, no gratitude. लेकिन अगर एक दिन पानी नहीं आया, lot of shikayat. So these are gently, it is very gradual that it happens, but this is just shifting our vibrations. Even gratitude to matter, the bed you get up from, you know, your chappal is lying there for you, the way we fold our bed sheet, or we just throw it, and you know, how we are connecting. It's a relationship, not only with people, with the self, but with objects. And a relationship with time. समय के साथ रिश्ता बहुत important है. Always repeatedly saying, I'm busy, I have no time, does not create a good relationship with time. As if time and we are against each other.
Right.
You know, I'm not saying nice things about time. I say, marne ki bhi fursat nahi hai. A very wrong line to say about time. So time and me don't create a good relationship. So I should say, I have a lot of time.
Right.
I have more time than I need. We never use the word busy. Never. It's not part of the vocabulary. I can say I'm occupied. We can do this next week. But never say busy. We can be working 18 hours a day. But busy has nothing to do with that. Busy is only here. A lot of clutter. A lot of clutter. So the words we use, अभी क्या होता है, छोटे-छोटे बच्चे बोलते हैं, I'm very busy. Because they picked it up. They picked it up from the air. And they are using that word at the age of 5. So you see now when this 5-year-old child becomes 40 years old, by then it's different. So
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Chawla, any last?
No, it's okay. No, thank you very much.
Wonderful. A wonderful session. We feel so good. Thank you so much, Shivani ji. And I think our viewers will benefit as well. So will our readers. Thank you very much.
Shanti. Thank you. Thank you, Chawla ji. बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया.